the country has been experiencing constant rainfall recently. This has seen some flood damage being reported in other areas. While rains can have both a positive and negative impacts on agriculture, but heavy rains can damage crops and disrupt the agricultural supply chain. And while on the other hand, improved rainfall can also benefit crops, livestock and horticulture. To get a clearer picture of the impact of these recent rains, I'm joined by the Chief Economist of the Agricultural Business Chamber of South Africa, Wandile Sihlobo. Thank you so much, Wandile, for joining us on Point. The agricultural sector and the impact that these persistent rains are having, what possible challenges can this rain bring that might impact on consumers eventually?
Look, we are coming from a season that was very difficult for South Africa's agriculture. That's 2024. If you look at our farming economy, we usually segment it into three subsectors. We have the livestock and poultry, that is half of our farming economy. Then we have horticulture, that's your fruit and vegetables, and field crop, where we have grains and oilseeds. The difficulty last year was exactly on that grains and oilseeds, where we were hit by the midsummer drought, seeing our harvest declining by 23%, as well as the animal diseases in the livestock. So this year, these rains that we have seen intensifying in recent weeks, we still see them as a welcome change from that difficulty that we experience. Of course, there are some areas where the rainfall can lead to a delay in terms of planting, and also some logistical difficulties with moving products, especially where the roads are not in good shape. But I would say overall, looking at what's happening now comparing to the recent past, we are generally happy about the rainfalls.
Yeah. Should it get out of hand, Wandile, and it continues, we've seen the damage that it has caused to other infrastructure and not necessarily agriculture just yet, but should the damage, the rain bring some sort of damage to the industry, could we see changes in prices of food in the future?
Right now, we are in season, generally on the production of summer crops and the field crops. When we think about the food prices in general for South Africans, we still expect that over the medium term, the food prices will remain fairly moderate. So regardless of what happens on the rainfall side, remember what will hit the retail shelves for the consumer in the coming months. It's already the products that is in the pipeline. So we don't expect to see any of the difficulties over the medium term. So we're sitting fairly comfortable. And of course, there are other upside pressures on certain products, such as grain-related food products, but that has a lot to do with the constrained supply from last year. But the rainfall on itself, so far, it's still fairly favorable broadly for us.
Yeah. Let me bring it a little bit closer to the household and people who are watching who may refer themselves as backyard garden. And you've got a little patch at the back of your garden, but the rains are consistently raining and you're not sure what to do with it. What are the tips that you can share with our viewers about how they can protect their little vegetable gardens if they do have at home?
Look, of course, it differs region by region on what's happening in as far as the rainfall across the country. But I would say anyone who's deeply engaged in farming, thinking about how difficult the past seasons have been, whatever rain that we are receiving so far is a welcome relief for South Africans. I would not necessarily see what we are observing right now as pretty much of a negative of saying you should protect yourself in ABC way, because ultimately we are not getting a constant stream of rain. We are getting breaks every now and then. The only issue had been for the late planting areas where farmers have struggled to get onto the fields. But there are periods like today where some regions of the country are getting a bit of a breather and people are out there working on the field. So broadly for us, we think this will be positive. The only thing that we're watching, of course, is that those that are in the livestock industry, when it is too wet, there are always chances of a high animal diseases that we have to consistently monitor. But broadly, South Africa's agriculture is in for a recovery period in 2025.
Wandile, thank you so much for the reassurance. I've been speaking to Wandile Sihlobo. He's the Agricultural Business Chamber Chief Economist, and we've been chatting about the persistent rains that we've been experiencing in the country.